With the 7 Crimes of Kalervo update, Mesa has gained some brand new tech that has allowed us to push her even farther to the top of the Warframe DPS hierarchy, and today I will be showing you just how to do so. First though, credit does go to Aznvasions for being the first person to publicize some of this info to my knowledge, and also increase what I know about Mesa. Definitely go check him out if you have not already, he makes some dope stuff. For today's build, we are making use of our entire arsenal to buff our regulators as much as possible. Jumping right on into what we will be using for our Helminth today, it is quite simple yet incredibly strong and leads into some of Regulator's deeper mechanics. Xata's Whisper will be replacing Ballistic Battery here and serving as our main damage bonus for a couple of reasons. You may be asking why not use something like Eclipse, as it can potentially be a higher damage multiplier, but Xata's unique mechanics and the way Regulators scale damage make it preferable over other Helminths. For every single hit with your Regulators while Xata's is active, you will deal an extra hit totaling to 26% of the first damage instance as void damage. These hits scale off of most mods equipped on your Regulators, but namely, they double dip on faction damage sources like Expel Corrupted, meaning that they will first buff your weapon before multiplying the damage bonus a second time, commonly referred to as double dipping. This is vital for Mesa, as multiplicative damage sources are significantly stronger on her than additive ones. Regulators are unique in the exalted weapon department, as strength functions not as a final damage multiplier for them, instead dictating their base damage. This is very important for Mesa, as if we take a look at the damage equation for Regulators, strength appears 3 times within it, while base damage mods only appear once. To explain this a little more, because it does look very confusing, Regulators themselves have a base damage of 50, which is then buffed by the Peacemaker's ability by 1.5x, increasing that to 125. Since the ability itself is affected by strength, this multiplier will continue to increase their base damage, and it is applied twice in the equation, being additive with each other and also additive with other base damage sources like Hornet Strike, which is why it is less useful than strength here. As you fire your Peacemakers, you also gain an additional multiplicative damage bonus up to 150%. While this is not increased by strength, it just serves as another thing we can use to boost our damage passively. Now I want you to take everything you just heard and remember that this is getting essentially doubled by Xata's Whisper's extra hits, which when at 200% strength become 50% of your total damage per instance. 200 strength is important, as it is the threshold from where you start to gain more from Prime Banes over Hornet Strike, and because we weren't already dealing enough damage, Mesa's second, Shooting Gallery, adds another 50% more base damage to Regulators when at 200% strength, because of course it does. Now, introducing what I briefly mentioned in the intro is a very simple yet powerful mechanic that gives Mesa a permanent crit damage bonus, Secondary Outburst. And yes, I know it says crit chance, it is wrong, it gives crit damage. Outburst will consume all of your current melee combo when you pull out a secondary, granting you a universal critical damage bonus for secondaries. At rank 5, this is 12% per combo, and very interestingly, this does include the practically non-existent 1x, unlike Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds, which will only grant their buffs when gaining combo above 1x. At 12x combo, this would total out to a 144% crit damage buff for your Regulators, but I am assuming you already see the issue here. To successfully utilize this arcane, we would need to build combo every time we wanted to swap over to Regulators, and with the buff lasting only 15 seconds, that seems like too much micromanagement for a small buff. In comes the Ceramic Dagger with its Gun and Blade Evolution perk. This grants you on primary kill an increase in 1 combo, stacking up to 100. Now, this is misleading like a lot of other things in this game. These kills can be done with any weapon, including Regulators, not just primaries, and it is permanent throughout the mission, unless you die. This means that when stacked with initial combo mods on your Ceramic Dagger and the Tree 2 evolution for another 20 initial combo, you can gain a total of 166 initial combo, or just 8x, which equates to a permanent 96% increase in our critical damage for free. Regulators themselves cannot proc this by equipping them, but unequipping your Regulators into your secondary will proc it, and then because it is a universal buff, it of course applies to them too. Now, with that very cool piece of tech in mind, we can move on to the secondary I recommend you pair this arcane with, and to no one's surprise, it is the Epitaph. Not only is it just a damn good primer, but with the recent cold status buffs and the forced procs the Epitaph has, it just boosts our crit damage even more, and if you direct hit enemies, Puncture will also increase our crit chance as well. Utilizing both our melee and our secondary for this buff is very strong, yet one of the common Mesa strategies that I see is to use the Fear Axe for its Amalgam mod, which adds another 45% fire rate onto her pistols, which is quite strong. But to get around us not having this mod available, we can use the Afentis, which has the special property when thrown called Ballast Starry Might. If you get a kill while within 10 meters of the thrown spear, you will gain a 40-second buff that provides us with some bonuses, but the main one is an additional 20% fire rate, which does affect regulators. We are certainly pushing our damage as far as I think you can possibly go, but that doesn't really matter if you keep dying on Steel Path, so let me show you how to not do that in the best way possible. Shooting Gallery is one of my favorite abilities, as I'm sure you know. Link in the cards for a focus video on the best crowd control in the game. Seriously. I feel like most people ignored this one on Mesa because you traditionally build for absolutely no range on her, which Shooting Gallery absolutely requires. With any decent amount of range, 175 to be specific on this build, it will jam pretty much all enemies' weapons in near you, and when paired with Muzzle Flash, the augment, after 6 kills you get a localized blinding flash similar to Excalibur's Radio Blind that even works on Xmas units. Paired up with Shatter Shield for 95% DR and adaptation, you are very hard to kill. Our strength benchmark of 200% can be hit in a few ways, but I think Umbral Intensify with Transient and then Power Drift in the aura is the best way to do so. Prime Continuity brings us back into the positives for duration and puts all of our abilities over 30 seconds, which is my cutoff for comfort. Utilize Streamline to manage Peacemaker's insane drain, and the aura for me is Corrosive Projection, but you can quite literally use anything else here. Arcane-wise, you definitely want to be using Energize, and most importantly, Arcane Velocity. Velocity provides her pistols another 120% fire rate, which is a massive buff as it is uniquely powerful on her. Remember the 150% damage bonus regulators get by just firing them? This takes 20 shots to fully stack up, which means the more fire rate you have, the quicker you stack this, and the quicker you'll kill enemies, of course. Moving over to regulators, we are going for a corrosive heat build that does not use galvanized shot, as not only are regulator status chance not great, but we also do not need base damage here because, again, strength is far more important. Besides that, the build is fairly basic. Just remember to use a Prime Bane if you have one. I don't, but it is of course the optimal mod here. That was quite a bit of info, but I think I made that one easier to digest. Definitely let me know what you think about this build and tech in the comments down below. I will try to read as many of them as possible. A quick reminder that you can support me on both YouTube and Patreon, link in the description where you can check out all of the benefits, like getting your name appear with all of these people. Thank you to Peter, Scotty Nose, Bad Robot, Sage, Brave, Intellectual, SOS, and 3000, and of course everyone else on screen. Your support is greatly appreciated. That is all from me. I hope this video was informative and helpful, and I will see all of you guys in the next one. Peace!